All right, in this first episode of Profiles in Badassery, I talked to Ronda Andrews, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and owner of Gracie Humaita in West Craig, Las Vegas. In this interview, we talk about her beginnings in martial arts, how she found Jiu Jitsu, and how she worked through the ranks to become the first female black belt in the Gracie Humaita organization. She also talks about how she became a gym owner and the triumphs and challenges of being a female gym owner in the male dominated sport of Jiu Jitsu. This interview was so much fun for me to do. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. To see this and fresh new content, join our community of sisters that can throw hands and feet by connecting with us on Instagram and Facebook at Black Woman Black Belt. Visit our website at blackwomanblackbelt.com and make sure to like this video and to subscribe to this channel. Hope to hear from you soon. So, thank you so much for your time, Rhonda. First off, I want to say welcome, fellow badass. Like, it is so good to talk to you again. First off, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself just to people. Just what do you want people to know about you?
All right. Well, my name, of course, got it. Um, I I'm a black belt in Las Vegas. My school is located in North Las Vegas. Currently with the Gracie Humaita team, have been for some years, and you know, uh, good. Been training jujitsu for about 14 years, give or take. Um, I'm not one of those where I just memorize and celebrate my anniversary every because I don't remember. I was just having fun doing something. So I didn't record the date when I started having fun.
Yeah, yeah,
And stepped on the mat on the day that basically like changed the course of my life.
yeah. You don't remember when you started training jujitsu?
Like when you get down to like the exact date, but I'm that type of person. I'm horrible with birthdays, anniversaries. Just I narrowed my mama's birthday down to 3 days. Okay, so don't expect me to remember the date of my first class. It's not-
Okay. See, because I was like, I remember my first class, but that's
I
just
remember what I was taught. I
yeah,
remember we were doing the butterfly hook sweep, and that's what got me sold on jujitsu. So I was like, "How is this working? I need to keep coming to find out." And I remember that, but as far as the exact date, no, not so much.
and what motivated you to even come to a class?
Well, I would say this. I was one of those girls growing up where I was always rough and tumble. I always loved rough housing and stuff like that. Um, so I'm 43, born in 77, coming up at that time, like girls in wrestling and boxing and football, just, so I didn't really, and those being three things I wanted to do my entire life, I didn't get to just because they weren't for girls. I always tell my mom, don't feel bad about it. It's like you were doing your thing, but you had no idea. But, I still ended up, where I am and what I'm doing today. But so that being said, like I was 20, 28, 29. It's one of those years. Okay.
Okay.
So it's like 28, 29 when I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something I always wanted to do. So I had long acrylic nails and I decided I'm going to box. So I'm driving. I just looked up a bunch of places online and I'm driving. And while I'm driving, I'm like chewing off my acrylic nails. I'm like, I'm going to box and I'm signing up. I didn't even walk past the front desk. And do you want to see the facility? No, I just want to sign up. Like there was no matter what I signed up, I'm going to do it. So I was boxing, and it was an MMA. It was an MMA school, right? So I started out boxing and having a lot of fun, and it's like, oh, you get to the point like spars. It's like having a good time with it. And then I would get there early, and I would see this. I didn't know what it was, but it turns out it was a no-gi jujitsu class, and asking, hey, what's that? And they're like, no, jujitsu. I'm like, looks like wrestling to me, like, because I have no idea what it is. I'm thinking it had to be maybe about 2006-ish at that time. Um, and they're like, you should try it. I think it's just like they didn't have to do much convincing because the next day I was there early and got on the mat and just and fell in love. And from that point on, it's like I just want to keep doing this. I was still balancing the boxing and jujitsu for a while. Um, then I had an injury,
Mm.
which I tore my ACL, so I had to take a break from everything. But when I came back, I was only comfortable being on the ground. I was still like freaked out about doing anything on my feet. So so jujitsu just pulled me in, and that's where I was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds quite familiar. Sounds quite familiar. But first, we both know, hey, you're a black belt, so you know way even better than I do that jujitsu is not easy, not easy at all. So, what were your challenges coming through the ranks, and how did you negotiate those? Like, were there any social challenges, physical challenges, just like any challenges you can think of?
Okay. Well, of course, at the time, and like I'm at an MMA school, and not to say anything because it's nothing against the school, whatever. It's like sometimes you just something might start out one way, like the culture of your school can start out one way, and it can turn into something, and it's not really in the school. It's just the people, you know. So like I would say some of my challenges were with people, and even still, like you still might have these challenges because I notice it in certain things happen. It's like I still notice like, wait a minute, why are people still like this? Like, haven't there been enough women on the mat now? But I'm sorry, let me get back to
No,
some
no,
of my
no.
things. So, like, of course, there's like hardly ever more than like one woman trained on the mat, right? Um, and most of the times it was me and the other female that I started with, like we were very different sizes, very different sizes. And like I touched on this with my friend Hillary in a talk that we did, is like I'm, being a bigger woman and strong woman, like I'm durable. And yes, I'm gonna come at you because I realize that I might not get the same treatment as say like the other, you know, smaller female, whatever. So it's like, like I've had some things with like some run-ins. I like to call, and I don't even care. I like to call them like MMA meatheads, you
No.
know. So
Yeah.
and like some of those challenges, but then I'm just like the type of person just like, all right, you get me today, but there's gonna be tomorrow, and there's gonna be the day after that, and I like to make a list and check people off. So,
Got your hit list.
yeah,
Ain't
so
nothing wrong
sorry.
with I I'm not even gonna lie, like I don't have one. Like I have a hit list. There's
But
people
you know what? Like when you have things like a grown man take the tip of their elbow and put it right in the middle of your throat. Oh no, I've had reasons to have a list, you
yeah.
know? So like, and again, that's that thing of like I'm seen as being durable, and then also I offer a challenge that they might not get with others.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
So
I think what I've noticed is that because I'm a heavyweight, and
mhm,
when I visited your school, I was a super heavy at the time. Like I'm like the lower end of super heavy, heavyweight. And
mhm,
that's in some places, like you said, some of the meatheads, they go all meaty on you and they like put their forearm in your neck. And
mhm,
it's like, dude, I'm still a woman. Like,
yeah,
realize that that's still a thing, but I will punish you for that.
yeah.
And I use technique. I can't use the strength because they're
Mhm.
way bigger than I am.
Like what? Just like one more thing too is people don't necessarily, even in those early days, like they don't believe in your skill, or one, either they don't believe in your skill or they have that ego, and I'm mostly talking about men because I didn't have that opportunity unless I traveled to actually train with a group of grown women that did jujitsu. Locally, I don't feel like I had that. Did I necessarily miss it? I'm gonna say not so much, and it's probably because of the reception that I would get from other women that say are like smaller than me, as if like like I'm. gonna hurt them or something like that. So like, people make you feel a certain way. So like, I don't really necessarily at that time coming up, I didn't really necessarily miss or long to train with a bunch of women, because in my experience, just like the ones that I have had to train with, usually very few actually really like and accept the challenge
Yeah.
of what's put in front of them. So instead of it turning to like mean girls and trying
Yeah.
to make me feel bad about myself just because I like chicken, I like
Yeah.
grape, I like, you know.
Yeah, the microaggressions are real. I,
Mhm.
I I 100% understand that. There's racial microaggressions. There's um microaggressions between women, like, oh, you're the big girl, so you don't. No, no, I'm just the type like this. I know how to use my weight without hurting you, but if I
Mhm.
need to hurt you, I can be mean, but I usually am not. So yeah,
I don't even say hurt. I say it's just time to learn lessons.
yeah, yeah.
It's time
To
for
educate.
people to learn lessons. So and I honestly, like, today, thinking about some of the things that I went through, like, I lo- I think it's amazing just how many people, many women you can see on the mat now and everything. So it does change the dynamic of training these days. And even those that may say, "Oh, we don't have many women," if you have more than two,
You
for
got
me,
a lot.
if you have more than two, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what? So sorry, and I still feel, yes, it's still a boys' club in many ways. And there's some schools that they're, I'm like, how did you get all those women? Where do they all come from? Where do they live? But
It's
it is
usually
great.
it teaches usually it's one woman and it's a bird that teaches other birds how to fly. That's the way that I look at it, cuz the women that I know that have large groups, they're the bird that taught the other birds how to fly. So you can do this. This is doable. It's not easy. God
Hmm.
knows it's not easy, but it is doable.
Yeah.
So that's what, like, and I forgot to say this at the beginning. I meant to say this at the beginning. When I came to your school back in 2016, I
Hmm.
was so happy to have seen, number one, I had only seen one other female black belt from that time, and I had been training since 2013, and I came to your school in 2016. But I remember Christina was like, "You gotta meet her. You gotta meet her." And I don't think she told me that you were a black female black belt. I low key geeked out. I was like, it was the best thing ever. I wasn't rolling too terribly well because I keep pulling my like hip flexors and jump. But other than that, it was that, like, you have no idea how good it was to meet you that day. So like, just throwing that out there, just FYI.
Mm,
Um,
mattered.
Talking about good jujitsu memories, what was your best jujitsu memory? Just right offhand.
Um, you know what? It's how much fun it was. And I'm gonna say, and I use the word was, and for now, it is still fun for me, but it's just different because now it's not just an hobby, it's my job, it's my livelihood. But I remember I miss those days of just like being, I was like a baby in this, and just, some people are like, wait a minute, but how, what, and if I describe like my training schedule, stuff like that, like, you start getting your feet wet, and then it's just like, I have fun. I'm gonna come back again tomorrow. you know, and just having to, like, every day, like, why did you train so much? Because all I thought about was how much fun I had, and I just wanted to keep the fun just going, like, every day, like, no matter. And we all have problems with our job, this, that, whatever. But when you go to jujitsu, it doesn't matter. And it was just so much fun, and that just kept me going back every day. And I even like to think about how much fun I had during those days, and that's all. And it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but that's all I said in my head was just like, I have fun. I'm gonna go back tomorrow. I have fun. I'm gonna go back tomorrow. And then also the people I've met, you know. Yes, some things fall apart, but that's just normal. That's life, or whatever. You I vibing with some people, then things fall out. But then I met some good people and some good relationships in jujitsu. with friends, and it doesn't matter, even if we're not on the same team, you're still my friend. Still come to my school. Come, let's just have
Train
fun like
together.
we did
Yeah.
back in the day,
Yeah.
right?
You said you own the gym at Gracie Humaita, right?
Mhm.
When did you start? When did you become the owner and acquire it, or
So for this, so me and I actually, when I opened my school, I originally had a business. I had a business partner. So I was actually a brown belt. I was like a four stripe brown belt, and my business partner, he was a black belt. So there's multiple Gracie Humaita schools here in Las Vegas, but we wanted to open up a school, but we also want to stay part of the team. So we, basically our professor like gave his blessing, like basically backed us to Hoyler Gracie, to open up a Gracie Humaita location, and that's 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 my school today. So I have been a solo black female black belt owner for 2 years now, because my business partner just, he needed to leave. It just wasn't him. It's like he lost his love for it.
yeah?
So, or whatever, life, whatever. But you know what? Mama always gonna take care of her babies. So this is my school. These are all my babies, and I just teach them jujitsu and watch them get better every day.
Okay, and let's
So
segue on to
yeah.
the yeah.
So
Let's segue.
2014, we opened the school.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
opened in 2014. Um, your business partner left in 2018. So you had a business partner when I was there. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you was running the show. Okay, but hey, who? I'm not mad at that.
I did run the show, even with them here. You know how it goes.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna get myself back together. Um, as a coach, what is your favorite class to teach, and what is your favorite thing to teach?
Okay. So my favorite class, I actually have like two, or they can be pretty much be the same class. So I want to say my favorite class is my kids advanced class and my kids competition class. Because I can teach them like adults, like they're on that level where it's like, okay, I don't have to water things down for you and keep things super simple. Like they already have their foundation, and it's just like, all right, now that you have that foundation, now I can start teaching you all these other things in jujitsu where you guys think are cool and everything, but I couldn't teach them to you if you can't do a basic bump sweep. Like I can't teach them to you if you can't do a basic scissor sweep, you know? But my favorite thing to teach, and that is across the board, is guard passing. I love teaching guard. Oh, I love guard passing because I'm a passer, and it's, yeah,
Yeah,
that's my favorite thing. I can just go off on guard passing no matter what this person does. Like, oh no, if he does that, then this and this and this, and you have this option, this option, this option, and you know, if getting people on the point where, because I've had, you have those people that are just strictly guard players, but it's like, I'm going to turn, you're now, I got to get you a little more well-rounded, so it's like I have people like, all they did guard is life, all right,
yeah,
but now I got you flipping the script. So people that weren't scared of you on top, now they're like, oh wait a minute, I can't be letting this person, getting past my legs, because now they know how to, you
yeah,
know. So I love guard passing.
yeah. Smash passing, smash
Huh?
passing, smash
Oh,
pass.
dude, I love pressure.
Yeah,
My
pressure
pressure is always,
passing is the
what's the
bomb.
answer when they do this? More pressure.
Yeah.
More. I would say you could take the toughest piece of meat and put them in a pressure cooker and it's gonna fall
It's just
apart.
just tender.
Mhm.
All right, so you received your belt because I did the research because you're bad at numbers, so I've learned that you received your belt. If I'm not mistaken, let me see, it was January 15th, 2014. So you
2015.
20. Oh, so I got it backwards. It's January 14th,
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah, because I opened my school as a brown belt August 1st of 2000. Like I know these dates, August 1st of 2014.
Yeah.
And then in that January is when of 2015 is when I got my black belt.
So, like, have you had like, because I gotta imagine, because you were a teacher and students will come in, male and female, especially male will come in. How do they react to you as the head instructor? Because we know it's hard enough as a female black belt to be a head instructor, but a black female black belt, how do they? Have you ever had anybody just go little cuckoo for cocoa puffs coming in, or just just
Well, I say this a lot, and I is because of the my school, my culture, right?
yeah,
I feel like I'm more in control of it than anything else. So I got a good group of people that have come through the door, but they're the type of people that came through the door with an open mind. Okay. And did it. And some that maybe their mind wasn't so open. It only took less, it probably took 30 seconds of one roll to open their eyes and see, like, oh, okay, this is, you know,
this is
this is,
legit.
this is, yeah, yeah, like, oh, she, oh, no. You know, and, and if there's someone that walks through the door, and many of my students will attest to this because we see it. Anybody that walks through that door where they're not like a good fit. Not saying that we're clicky, but it's like like
Yeah,
like you have that person that you might have someone that's maybe like socially ignorant to how they come off to people and maybe and what they do and also to me or whatever. They end up leaving. Why? It's like we're our own community, you know. I think every school should be, and for some they think they are, but it seems more like a clicky community, you know. Whereas like everybody genuinely likes everybody, speaks to everybody, wants them to feel welcome. But once you do something, say that doesn't jive with our very laid back vibe and everything that we like to put off here, it doesn't take long before people realize like, I'm out the door. So no, I don't have anybody go like crazy. And even if there's anybody that I get like creeper vibes off of, and I'll just make it clear like to any of the women, teenagers, like, no, none of you guys are to touch them. Like the only woman in here that they can touch is me, you know.
and they
And
don't want to
I
touch.
was like, say that, like boom, and it's like, and that's like a time where you like if it happens, just sit back and grab your popcorn,
Yeah,
right?
they don't want that smoke. They don't want that smoke. They're not trying to get that. And also, let me see. What has been your as a female black belt or a black female black belt? What has just been your greatest challenge? It just right offhand, if you could think of one thing.
I feel like I face my greatest challenge every day, even though, say, my students, they in the back of their head they think, oh yeah, no, that is a thing. It's just because they see things differently than say others. Like when they tell somebody like, oh, they're telling somebody about jujitsu and they're like, no man, my professor, and they say my professor, she, and they're like, she, like, you learn from a woman? They're like, no, you don't understand. Like, she's not a regular woman. Like, she's not she's not a woman, the type of woman that you think about, you know. Like, and you don't want to be like, you don't understand like her technique and everything. And man, I don't even have to train with anybody. You guys can come in here and train with my students and see like, oh, this is what's going on here, whether it be a woman or not. So like my challenge that I feel that I face all the time is being a woman business owner in this jujitsu world, you know, and it just solo. Like the thing about me having a business partner earlier and when I opened is because we had that male lead figure, and then you had me, the female, right? Lead figure. So like if guys came in and like, oh, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna learn a woman. Well, you know, this is his school too. He teaches and everything. So it's kind of like something to get people to come in, and then they realize like, oh man, she knows her stuff, and I got a lot that I can get from her. And then and like I said, now I don't have to, if somebody new comes through that door, I don't have to risk injury or anything like that. My students show our jujitsu every day. So
I only have two more questions because I know you
mhm.
are a busy woman. What advice would you give to women coming up, and especially Black women or just women in general that are
Mhm.
coming up through the ranks now through jujitsu? What would be your best piece of advice?
This is what I say at every single belt promotion. Like, just always make sure you find the fun. You know, so some people think they get caught up in competition. I did, man. I did. I would compete so much coming up from white to like brown belt, and it just drove me nuts. So much to the point where it's just I felt like I wasn't having any fun. You know, and I always tell people don't do that to yourselves. Just make sure that you're having fun. If you're not having fun, then you need to take a break from that part that is killing it for you. So if it's jujitsu, so if it's competition, even though for some of us, when you feel like you're that die-hard competitor, because it takes some time for that to die in you, if it ever does. Um, if you're ruining every single training day because you're thinking, oh, I want to get gold, I want to get gold. Hey, them gold medals ain't really gold. You know, understand that you're challenging yourself and everything. But if you come in here and you're being sorry, but if you're being shitty to everybody here that's actually here to help you get better and this and that, and you come on the mat and nobody wants to do anything with you just because they don't want, you know, or with you, you're just making yourself miserable. Don't think about what you're doing to everybody else. You're making yourself miserable. Make sure that you can always go back and find the fun, you know. And if you're fun, if you just feel like I'm not having fun doing jujitsu, period, maybe you're overtraining. Take a break. Come back. Let's see how. And if that break turns out to be a little bit longer, so be it. I have a female purple belt here. She started back in like 99, 2000. She took a 14-year break.
That's a break.
You know, but she came and then she found my school and she really loved it, and it brought her back into the fold. you know
Yeah,
so 14-year break, that's a long break,
that's
but I do believe during that time she was looking for the right school for her, and it didn't seem like it was around because of course starting way back then, and she's told me like some of her experiences, and I'm like, oh my god, did you stay at that school? If you didn't have many choices, you know.
yeah.
It,
I now, yeah, I could tell you some stories, but like I'm
mhm.
gonna say that for another episode of Black Woman Black Belt because
Yeah.
my origin story was absolutely insane. So I get it. I get you on that one. And my last one is there anything else that I missed? Is like a question that's just been burning in your heart for the last 14 years that you just need to ask, or something that you just really need to say?
Just enjoy the journey is, and everybody says it. It's not a race, and because in me being an academy owner and being responsible for people's promotions and what have you, and just seeing people train for the wrong reasons, you know, it's like you have someone that's like depending on how people are promoted, they kind of map out like, oh, I should get a stripe by this date, I should get a stripe by this date, I should get my new belt by this date. Well, when things don't meet your expectations, especially something like that, I'd rather see you keep training than quit. So think about really why are you training and what's the ultimate goal. Is the goal something you tie around your waist? I have a black belt. Everybody wants a black belt. I'm not gonna say that because I'm really like, oh, I can't wait to be a black belt. Oh, and it's just like, it the moment, the moment is special, but it didn't make me special, you know. So I just moved up another rank, just like I moved from white to blue, blue to purple, purple to brown, brown to black, you know. But as far as like just again, just keep in mind why you're doing this. Are you doing it for gold medals? Is that why you started? I hope not. You know, are you doing it just because you want to get a certain belt by this date, no matter if you are a good representation of yourself at that belt level? Because some people get pushed along super fast, and they're okay with it because they they just want to get to that their ultimate being the black belt, and then it's like, all right, now I'm good, you know. So enjoy the journey and relax and just let it do what it does to you. You know, for some, I never thought I'd be teaching. I never thought I'd be teaching kids at that. You know, I'm like, I'm not a mom. I'm not, and you know, even my family, my closest friends growing up, they're like, I never thought I'd ever see you in a room full of kids and actually like playing with them and doing this and that. Just enjoy the many ways that it'll change you as a person and let it happen because it's probably going to be for the better.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I will
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So that's it. Because some people, I feel some people just don't get it, and they have is like, what have you gained from this? Like you can see someone as a person, and even as students, like they train for a while, train for a few years, like you gotta like it's you often wonder like, what are you really getting out of this other than it's a physical activity, you get exercise every day, you know, you meet cool people, you meet this, which are good things, but what is it doing for you as a person? What deep change has it brought into your life? You know, something that you can show off to other people. You know, and you don't think about it. I could be at a grocery store and I could interact with somebody that's like, "Are you a teacher?" I'm like,
I didn't
"Yeah,
know.
kind of." Like,
Like I
how'd
didn't
you
know.
how'd you tell? You know, because it's just some things that have just become so me
Yeah.
now. You know, so ah, yes, enjoy it. I hope it makes everybody selfless and caring and want to see. But if that's the case, maybe the world would be better.
Never know. Probably.
Uh,
Well, thank you so much, Rhonda. Thank you for interviewing with me. It was my pleasure, and I hope to be able to come and visit you in Vegas this year. Hopefully, the
yes, yes. Oh my
Rona will give up. Oh my God, I'm so sick of it. Okay, but
God.
other than that, I'm going to just say thank you, and hopefully, I'll see you soon. I hope you enjoyed this segment and thank you for watching. Join our community on Instagram and Facebook and come see us at blackwomanblackbelt.com. We're about to do some great things. See you next time, fellow divas.